First contact with fear. Captain Elena Vega stood at the observation deck of the ESS Horizon, Earth's most advanced exploratory vessel. The vast expanse of stars stretched before her, a canvas of possibilities that humanity had only begun to explore. 40 years into faster-than-light travel, and humans were still considered newcomers in the vast galactic community. The United Galactic Concord, a coalition of over 300 sentient species, had welcomed Earth with diplomatic politeness but underlying condescension. Primitive but promising, they'd called humans in their official reports. Elena had seen them, courtesy of her position as Earth's second official ambassador to the Concord. The first ambassador had established diplomatic ties. Elena's mission was to strengthen them and secure Earth's place among the stars. Captain, urgent transmission from Concord Central. Lieutenant Darian Kim's voice came through the ship's communication system, interrupting her thoughts. Something in his tone made Elena's spine stiffen. "On my way," she replied, taking one last look at the stars before turning away. The command center of the horizon hummed with quiet efficiency as Elena entered. The crew, 20 of Earth's best, moved with purpose at their stations. Lieutenant Kim stood by the main communication array, his usually composed face betraying concern. "What is it, Lieutenant?" "It's from High Chancellor Xilat. Priority Alpha. For your eyes only," Kim said, stepping aside. Elena activated her personal communication device, and Chancellor Xilat's image appeared, a tall, graceful being with iridescent skin that shimmered with bioluminescence. The Meridian's 4 eyes blinked in their characteristic sequential pattern, but Elena immediately noticed the tension in the alien diplomat's posture. "Captain Vega," Xilat began, "your presence is required at Concord Central immediately. A matter of grave importance has arisen." "Maximum speed." Xi let out. The brevity was unusual. Meridians were known for their elaborate communication protocols. "Set course for Concord Central," Elena ordered. "Maximum velocity." "Captain." Commander Ramos, her second-in-command, approached. "Is something wrong?" "I don't know yet, but I intend to find out." Concord Central, a massive space station that served as the headquarters for the United Galactic Concord, was in chaos when Elena arrived. Species from across the galaxy hurried through corridors, many carrying personal belongings. Evacuation procedures seemed to be underway, though no official announcement had been made. Elena was met by Ziv, Chancellor Xilat's assistant, a small humanoid with translucent skin through which complex biological processes could be observed, a trait of the Lumini species. "This way, Captain," Ziv said without preamble. "The Emergency Council is gathering." As they navigated the curved hallways of the station, Elena observed the fear on every alien face they passed. "What's happening, Ziv?" Ziv's internal light patterns flickered, a sign of distress. "The Devourers have returned." Elena had never heard the term before, but the way Ziv's voice dropped to a whisper told her everything she needed to know about the gravity of the situation. The Emergency Council chamber was a vast circular room with seating arranged in concentric rings, designed to accommodate representatives from all major Concord species. Today, Elena noted with growing concern, nearly a quarter of those seats were empty. High Chancellor Xilat stood at the central platform. 5 worlds have gone silent in the past 14 solar cycles, the Chancellor announced without preamble. The Devourers have destroyed the Kilari defense fleet. The Tarkosh colony has been eradicated, and now Viridia Prime has fallen. Gasps filled the room. Elena recognized Viridia Prime as one of the most technologically advanced worlds in the Concord. "What exactly are these Devourers?" Elena asked, rising to speak. As the newest member species, humans were typically expected to observe rather than participate. But Elena had never been one to follow such unspoken rules when information was needed. Chancellor Xilat's compound eyes focused on her. "They are extinction embodied, Captain, an ancient species that hibernates for millennia. When they awaken, they consume everything in their path: resources, energy, technology, and destroy what remains. Have they appeared before? Elena pressed. An elder arboreal named Gore, skin resembling ancient bark, stood with the assistance of a hovering aid. 4 times in recorded history. The last emergence was 12,000 years ago. 2/3 of the known galaxy was cleansed of life. How were they stopped then? Elena asked, dreading the answer she suspected was coming. They weren't, Gore replied simply. They took what they wanted until satiated, then returned to hibernation. Elena felt ice in her veins. With all due respect, what is the Concorde's defense strategy? Surely with the combined military might of 300 species. We have tried, interrupted General Vrax, the 4-armed commander of the Concorde Defense Forces. The Kaltorian warrior's scales flashed red with frustration. Our most advanced vessels, our most powerful weapons, they mean nothing. The Devorer's shields absorb energy weapons, their ships self-repair, and they adapt to every tactic within hours. Elena looked around the chamber. So what's the plan? Evacuation? Hiding? The silence that followed confirmed her worst fears. You're surrendering, she stated, unable to mask her disbelief. Over 300 species, millions of years of combined knowledge and technological advancement. And you're just giving up. Chancellor Ixalat spread all 6 limbs in a gesture of resignation. We are being pragmatic, Captain. The Devorers cannot be defeated. The wisest course is to preserve what knowledge and life we can, and wait for them to return to hibernation. After they kill how many billions? Elena demanded. Trillions, Gore corrected softly. But those who hide deeply enough may survive. Some always do. Elena couldn't process what she was hearing. Earth will fight. A sad smile crossed the Chancellor's face. Your species has admirable courage, Captain Vega, but you don't understand what you face. Then help us understand, Elena insisted. Share everything you know about these Devorers. Their technology, their patterns, their biology. General Vrax released a sound that Elena's translator rendered as bitter laughter. Weaknesses? They have none. Everything has a weakness, Elena maintained firmly. Everything. Back aboard the Horizon, Elena paced her private quarters, mind racing. The Concorde, supposedly the greatest collection of intelligence and advancement in the known galaxy, was surrendering without a real fight. Her communications officer, Lieutenant Simone Wright, waited anxiously. It's that bad. Worse, Elena confirmed. The Concorde has restricted all communications. To prevent panic, Wright asked. Or to prevent anyone from actually fighting back, Elena muttered, activating her secure terminal to access the classified files her ambassador status granted her. Captain, Wright said nervously, what are you doing? The Concorde has encountered these Devorers before, Elena explained as she searched. They know more than they're telling us. After hours of searching through restricted archives and classified reports, Elena found what she was looking for. Hidden data, secret studies. The Concorde had detected the Devorers' approach nearly 2 years earlier. They had been watching, gathering data, running simulations, all while telling no one. They knew, Elena whispered in disbelief. They knew this was coming and said nothing. The reports contained detailed scans of Devorer vessels, analysis of their attack patterns, the composition of their technology, and most importantly, something the Council had explicitly denied existed: potential vulnerabilities. The Devorers weren't invincible. They were just so advanced that the Concorde species, set in their ways after millennia of established scientific principles, couldn't conceive of the radical approaches needed to exploit these weaknesses. But humans could. Humanity's greatest strength had always been thinking beyond established boundaries. Lieutenant Wright, Elena said with sudden determination, we're going to break Concorde law. I need to send all of this to Earth. Wright's eyes widened. That's high treason against the Concorde, Captain. The Concorde has already given up, Elena replied. Earth deserves a chance to fight. Wright hesitated, then nodded. I'm with you, Captain. They worked through the artificial night cycle, compiling the data and devising a way around the communication blackout. As the station's ambient lighting shifted to simulate dawn, Alina prepared the final transmission. "Humanity has always faced impossible odds," she said to Wright as the lieutenant prepared to bypass the Concorde's communication protocols. "From our earliest days, we've survived by adapting, by finding solutions no one else could see. If these devourers can be stopped, Earth will find a way." "And if we can't stop them?" Wright asked softly. Alina's expression hardened with resolve. "Then we'll go down fighting, not cowering in the dark waiting for extinction. That's what makes us human." The transmission went out, encoded in a burst pattern that would evade the Concorde's detection systems. Alina knew there would be consequences if they were discovered. Exile from the Concorde at minimum, possibly imprisonment on some distant penal colony. But as she stared out at the stars once more, Alina Vega knew she had made the right choice. The galaxy had lived in fear for too long. It was time for humanity to show the Concorde, and the Devourers, what real resistance looked like. "Now we wait," she said quietly, "and prepare for what comes next." Little did she know that Earth's response would shock not just the Concorde, but the entire galaxy, and change the course of interstellar history forever. Humanity's defiance. 72 hours after Alina's transmission, the Horizon's long-range sensors detected something impossible. A fleet of ships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the Concorde Central System. Human ships. "Captain," Lieutenant Kim called from his station, voice tight with disbelief. "Confirming 27 vessels of Earth origin approaching. They're requesting permission to dock." Alina stood frozen, staring at the tactical display. Earth's response had come with a speed that defied all expectations. Chancellor Ixelat burst onto the bridge without protocol, 4 eyes wide with alarm. "Captain Vega, what is the meaning of this? Your planet has sent warships to Concorde space without authorization." "Not warships, Chancellor," Alina corrected, studying the incoming data. "Research vessels, retrofitted mining ships, and what appears to be most of Earth's deep space exploration fleet." She turned to face the agitated diplomat. "Earth isn't invading. Earth is responding." Within hours, the main hangar of Concorde Central was filled with humans, scientists, engineers, military strategists, and specialists from dozens of fields. Leading them was Dr. Marcus Chen, Earth's foremost expert in theoretical physics and adaptive technology. "Captain Vega," Dr. Chen greeted Alina with a firm handshake. He was a small man with intense eyes and an energy that seemed barely contained within his slender frame. "Your data packet was most illuminating. How did you mobilize so quickly?" Alina asked, still stunned by the rapid response. Dr. Chen's smile was tight. "When alien apocalypse comes knocking, bureaucracy takes a back seat. The moment your transmission arrived, Earth enacted the Holtzman Protocol." "The what?" "Contingency planning, Captain. Earth has been preparing for existential threats since we first reached the stars. We just didn't know which form it would take." He gestured to the diverse team behind him. Every expert who might be useful, every ship that could be adapted, all deployed within 48 hours. General Vrax approached, scales shifting between red and purple, anger and confusion. "What do these humans think they can accomplish? The Devourers cannot be defeated." Dr. Chen turned to the imposing alien general. "With respect, sir, that conclusion is premature. Your own data indicates several theoretical vulnerabilities in Devourer technology." "Theories," Vrax dismissed with a wave of his upper arms. "Untested, unproven, which is why we're here to test them," Dr. Chen interrupted calmly. "The Concorde has existed for thousands of years, advancing along established technological paths. Humans think differently." "Differently how?" Chancellor Ixelat inquired, joining the conversation. Alina stepped forward. "The Concorde's weapons focus on energy projection, lasers, plasma, particle beams. According to your data, the Devourers absorb these energies to power themselves. But what about approaches that don't involve energy weapons at all? Dr. Chen nodded. We've identified 3 potential vulnerabilities based on your classified research. First, the Devourer's adaptive technology shows a distinct lag when confronted with purely mechanical systems. They evolved to counter energy-based threats. Second, their communication network operates on quantum principles that can potentially be disrupted. Third, and most promising, he activated a holographic display showing complex molecular structures. They're biomechanical integration points. The Devourers aren't just machines. They're partially organic, and all organic systems have vulnerabilities. General Vrax stared at the display, 4 arms crossed defensively. These are mere theories. Theories we intend to test, Dr. Chen replied firmly. Captain Vega's transmission included the projected path of the Devourer fleet. We have approximately 12 days before they reach the Arilax system. That's where we'll make our stand. Make your stand, Sealet repeated incredulously. 27 retrofitted civilian vessels against a force that has destroyed military fleets thousands strong. Elena met the Chancellor's gaze steadily. Sometimes it's not about the size of your fleet, but the ingenuity of your approach. The Arilax system was unremarkable. A red dwarf star with 3 gas giants and a handful of rocky planets. What made it strategic was its position at a navigational bottleneck in the region's space lanes. The Devourers would pass through here on their way to the densely populated Vega cluster. Earth's fleet arrived 5 days before the expected Devourer passage, immediately beginning preparations that baffled the small Concord observation team that had insisted on accompanying them. "What are they doing?" asked Ziv, watching from the observation deck as human ships deployed thousands of small devices into seemingly random patterns throughout the system. "They call it Operation Thunderclap," Alina explained. "A multi-layered defense that doesn't rely on direct confrontation." The human fleet had positioned itself near Arilax IV, the system's largest gas giant. Mining ships were harvesting specific gases from the planet's upper atmosphere, while research vessels monitored the elaborate sensor network they'd established throughout the system. "They cannot possibly hope to stop the Devourers," General Vrax said, though Alina noted less certainty in his voice than before. "We don't need to stop all of them," Alina replied. "We just need to prove they can be hurt." The waiting was the hardest part. Alina spent much of it with Dr. Chen, reviewing the plan and preparing contingencies. The scientist's confidence was unwavering. "The Devourers have never encountered humans," Chen said during one late planning session. "They've evolved to counter the threats they know. That's our advantage." "You sound certain," Alina observed. Chen smiled faintly. "In science, Captain, certainty is rare. But I am certain of this. If anyone can find a way to hurt these creatures, it's humans. We excel at the improbable." The alarm came at 3:47 hours, ship time. "Devourer vessels detected at system edge," announced Lieutenant Kim, his voice remarkably steady. 11 ships, approaching at sublight velocity. Elena took her position on the bridge. "All vessels, assume defensive positions. Operation Thunderclap is go." The Devourer ships were unlike anything Elena had seen before. Massive constructs that seemed to defy conventional design principles, their surfaces rippling with what appeared to be living metal. They moved with purpose, ignoring the scattered human vessels as insignificant threats. "They're not even bothering to engage," Vrax noted from his observer position. "They don't see you as a threat." "Good," Dr. Chen said from his station. "First advantage to us. Phase 1. Initiate." Throughout the system, the seemingly random devices deployed days earlier activated in sequence, creating a complex gravitational interference pattern. The Devourer ships slowed, clearly assessing this unexpected phenomenon. "They're analyzing the pattern," Chen said, watching the data stream. "Ready Phase 2. From the human ships came thousands of small drones, not weapons, but decoys, each broadcasting synthetic quantum signatures mimicking those of the Devourers themselves. The massive alien vessels paused, their formation shifting in apparent confusion. "What are they doing?" Sealat asked, leaning forward. Communication disruption, Chen explained. Their quantum network relies on precise identification protocols. We're creating noise. The Devourer fleet split, 3 ships breaking formation to investigate the anomalous signals. Exactly as planned. Phase 3, Elena ordered. The mining vessels that had been harvesting from Aralax IV launched their payloads, specialized compounds engineered based on the Concorde's classified data about Devourer biology. Not weapons in the traditional sense, but catalysts designed to trigger specific reactions in the biomechanical systems the aliens used. They're adapting, Kim reported as the Devourer ships began emitting energy pulses that destroyed the decoys. Countermeasures in 3-2. A brilliant flash erupted from one of the alien vessels, not an explosion, but a cascading system failure that rippled across its surface. Silence fell across the horizon's bridge. Did we just? Elena began. Yes, Chen confirmed, his voice tight with controlled excitement. We hurt them. The damaged Devourer ship listed, its movements erratic. The others immediately changed formation, moving to protect their vulnerable companion. They're retreating, Kim announced incredulously. The entire fleet is pulling back. Cheers erupted across the human vessels, quickly silenced as Elena raised her hand. This isn't victory, she cautioned. It's only proof of concept. They'll analyze what happened and adapt. But so will we, Chen added. Now we know it's possible. General Vrax stood motionless, staring at the tactical display showing the retreating Devourer fleet. In 12,000 years, he said slowly, no species has ever forced the Devourers to retreat. Not once. Until humanity, Elena said simply. 3 weeks later, Elena stood before the full Concorde Council. The chamber was filled to capacity, representatives from all member species in attendance to hear her address. The battle at Aralax was not a decisive victory, she began, but it proved what humanity has always believed, that no enemy is invincible, that every problem has a solution if you're willing to think beyond conventional approaches. The data from the engagement had been shared throughout the Concorde. Multiple species had already begun adapting human strategies, incorporating them into their own defense planning. The Devourers had slowed their advance, becoming more cautious, more selective in their targets, a behavior never before recorded in their long history of devastation. Humanity doesn't claim to have all the answers, Elena continued, but we offer our perspective, our creativity, our refusal to accept defeat. We ask the Concorde to reconsider its policy of non-resistance. Chancellor Xalat rose. Captain Vega's actions were, technically, in violation of Concorde directives, the Chancellor stated formally. However, the Council has voted unanimously to commend Earth for its initiative and courage. Furthermore, we are establishing a new Concorde defense initiative, with humans as key strategic advisors. Elena nodded in acknowledgement of this dramatic shift in status. From primitive but promising to strategic advisors in a matter of weeks, humanity had made its mark. The Devourers remain a grave threat, Xela continued. But for the first time in our history, we face them with hope rather than resignation. Captain Vega, your government has transmitted a formal request. They wish you to continue as Earth's representative and to take command of the joint defensive effort. Do you accept? Elena looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives of 300 species, all watching her with new respect in their alien eyes. I accept, she said firmly, on one condition, that we approach this threat as true equals. Earth doesn't want deference. We want partnership. Every species has something valuable to contribute, perspectives we haven't considered, knowledge we don't possess. Together, we'll find solutions none of us could discover alone. Xelat performed the formal gesture of agreement. So it shall be. As the council session concluded, Dr. Chen approached Elena. Well done, Captain. Or should I say, Admiral now. Elena smiled slightly. Titles matter less than results. The real fight is just beginning. True, Chen agreed. But the Devourers made one critical mistake. What's that? They threatened a species that doesn't know how to give up. The scientists gazed out at the stars visible through the council chamber's viewing portal. Humanity has faced extinction-level threats throughout our history. Disease, climate change, our own warlike tendencies. Each time, we've adapted and survived. And now we bring that experience to the galaxy, Elena said. Chen nodded. The Concord species have lived too long in peace. They forgot that survival sometimes requires fighting against impossible odds. He smiled. Fortunately for the galaxy, that's humanity's specialty. As Elena looked out at those same stars, she felt a profound sense of purpose. The Devourers weren't defeated. Far from it. The struggle ahead would be long and costly. But for the first time, the galaxy faced the ancient threat, not with fear and resignation, but with determination and hope. The galaxy had lived in fear until humanity responded, and everything had changed.